Thank you so much for being here. This is Onionhead Andrew's weekly Saturday podcast, as normal, or a live call. As normal, by the grace of God, I'm here. I'm able to talk to you. It's a true pleasure. Today, what we're going to talk about is wearables, and I don't really have much prepared. It's going to be more of, I need to know what people understand and what they don't, and then also a kind of a format for how you'll go about learning this. So with that being said, there are 3 layers as of right now to this knowledge. Okay, the first layer is what is conductive material, what is insulative material, and what is neutral. Okay, and what conductive material is metals. It allows for charges to move through it. Primarily magnetic charge, okay? That's what a conductor is. An insulator, so conductor is like the metal in the wire. The insulator is the thing that goes around the wire. The insulator actually it's actually electrically doing something too. When we think of these things, we think of, oh, the conductor's doing everything, the insulator's doing nothing. It's protecting us from the conductor, which is true. But the insulator is actually a dielectric or electrostatic accumulator. All right? That's a fancy word to say that, or a fancy phrase to say that dielectrics and electrostatics cling to insulative materials. Okay, so what's the insulative material that we've been talking about here the most, because it's the cheapest and the easiest, is plastic wrap. If you take plastic wrap and you open it up and you in a non-breezy room, so there's no wind whatsoever, you'll see that it will naturally move to electrically align itself with the energies in the room. That's because it's accumulating that electrostatic, or the dielectricism. It's an electrostatic dielectric accumulator. That's what insulators do. So this is the first level. Conductors, insulators, and electrically neutral or very, very close to neutral things. What is that? Primarily, that's copper, silver, and gold. All right, because none of us are made of money here, or maybe there's one of us, hopefully there is, right? We talk about copper. Silver and gold do what copper does, even better. So if you can get your hands on silver fabric, silver wire, that type of thing, gold fabric, gold wire, of course. Well, I don't know about gold fabric. I guess gold foil? Yeah, that might be something to look into, that really thin gold foil, something to think about. Those are all more or less electrically neutral. And they're conductors, so they can pass magnetic charges through them. But this is the crazy thing about those neutral materials, is because they're roughly aligned with neutral, they're anti-magnetic in nature. Okay? So that's where it gets really interesting. And you know what? As we're doing this right now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull this up. And I didn't have this planned, but this will be so helpful for a lot of you. And we're going to look up Lenz's law, okay? What Lenz's law shows us is how these anti-magnetic materials truly work. Copper, silver, and gold primarily. And basically what they do is I think the formal physics explanation of it is that the eddy currents make an opposite polarity of the magnetic charge that's in its presence. When, like, for example, copper and a magnet come into contact near each other. Okay, so I'm just getting it keyed up right now, and I'm going to start sharing the screen in a second. There shouldn't be sound, but that's okay. I'm going to start sharing the screen. For everyone that can't see, I'll explain it. Okay, it should be sharing. And I'm going to go to, there it is. Okay. Can someone chime in and tell me if they can see what I'm seeing?
I can see it.
Okay, awesome. For everyone that can't see, thanks for doing that. It says Lenz's law, L-E-N-Z apostrophe S law. Okay? And I'm going to explain it as we're going. It's just moving through. This is from MIT Physics. And what it's showing now is a copper pipe. The pipe has got a diameter of about an inch or so, give or take. And now a man with a lab coat is holding a round iron ball. The iron ball is about half an inch thick, and he's dropping it through the copper tube, and it falls exactly like you would at the rate of gravity, exactly like you would think. And now he's going to take a spherical magnet. It's the same size as the iron ball, and he drops it through the copper pipe, and it takes forever to fall. It takes like 4 seconds. It takes literally 4 seconds to fall, and the iron ball took 0.2 seconds to fall. So how does Lenz's law work? The falling magnet induces a current within the tube, which is correct. That's the correct explanation. By Lenz's law, the current creates a magnetic field that opposes the field of the falling magnet. That is also correct. So the current that is being generated by the falling magnet in the copper tube is generating an opposing magnetic field that's slowing it down, which means that copper is anti-magnetic. All right? So it's conductive. It can carry a magnetic charge, but it's anti-magnetic, as is silver and gold. They hold the same properties. Why do you think, very interestingly, why do you think that copper, silver, and gold have always been awarded, in like the Olympics and stuff like that? Why they've always been treasured since antiquity? People understood this because they felt it long before the physics explanation of it. And I'll explain that more. The video is still going, though. Now we're going to observe from above the pipe and magnet. So we're looking at the pipe, and we're watching the magnet fall, and it's just going super slow. Just exactly what we saw before, but now we're seeing it from the top, so we know it's not a magic trick. This is a real phenomena. It's absolutely amazing. It's called Lenz's law. That's the physics explanation of it. But like I said, what it's really going on is it's, well, they explained it correctly too, but that it's electrically aligned with neutral, which means in the real terms is that it's anti-magnetic. It's a conductive material that's anti-magnetic. So that's pretty amazing, right? So that's our first layer of understanding is conductive material, insulative material, and this neutrally aligned material, which is copper, silver, and gold. Conductive material is metal that carries a current. That's all it is. So copper, silver, and gold are also conductive, but they fall into that special category of being anti-magnetic. That's why we put it in its own, neutrally aligned. So conductive, insulative, and neutrally aligned. That's the first layer of understanding when it comes to building these wearables. What you want to do at first is mix those three things. Copper saran wrap, which is an insulator or a plastic wrap, whatever you call it, and aluminum tape or aluminum foil, which is to say metal tape. Metal tape is conductive. It's the cheapest conductor you can buy. You can use it for just about any shape. That's why I always recommend people get metal tape also, because because of the adhesive on it, you can form it into all sorts of things. Okay, with that first layer of understanding, these were the things I built. All right. If you can't see my screen, this was, it'll be recorded. This, of course, is always recorded. It'll be posted on Onionhead Andrew Rumble. You can look at it later. But what I'm showing, and YouTube, what I'm showing is 2 rings, right, of material that are taped up. You can't really see. And then some copper wire between them, and then some more copper wire with aluminum tape and saran wrap, right? So I thought.
Andrew,
Yeah, go ahead, Robert.
I think maybe you could blow your screen up or share your screen, because we're seeing you in the square, but not the whole screen.
I think in the recording it will be better, but here, let me see if I can do it right now also.
I see him in the whole screen.
Yeah, that's. I think.
Okay, good.
Okay, here's what I'll do. I'm gonna mute everybody again, and then it should pop me into the big screen. Okay. So nobody unmute themselves right now. And then I'm still not. Let me see. Move to. Okay, no. All right, someone unmute themselves and tell me what they see.
Full screen. I see the full screen of you.
Got like copper wires and a connection kit for shielding.
Okay, so I think that's just based on what we just heard from everybody. Everybody mute themselves again, please. I think what's going on, Robert, is you need to maybe click on your phone and try to get me in the main screen. Because if one of us has it in the main screen, the other ones don't, then it's happening individually on our phones. Let me see. And then I'm still looking real quick just to make sure there's nothing I can do about that. Oh, maybe there is. Hold on a second. This is a new one for me. That's why I don't have this figured out.
You can make him a presenter. You can write on. Yeah, if you go, since you're logged in as a host, so you can create a participant. You can either make them a presenter or a co-host, or remove anything you can do with that.
That's not the issue we're having right now. How do I make myself big for everyone? Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, so when you share your screen, once you go to screen sharing, before you enable it, there's an option, two options. Share my sound from my computer or not, also. So once you click both and enable, you share, then when you go in the, then you have a small box, blue at the bottom of all the participants, to share. You click that, it's going to ask you, what do you want to share? I usually share an application. This way, if I only share the application I'm sharing, or if you just say share, it's going to share everything. It's going to share everything you're doing on your screen. If you just share an application, it will only share YouTube or whatever application you open. And anything else you're doing besides that on your screen, nobody can see.
Okay, hold on a second. I understand what you're saying. Someone said click on view and then active speaker view. Okay, I do have that clicked on. So it should be popping on. Oh, that's for everybody else. That's what everybody else should be doing right now. Everybody on your smartphone device, whatever you're using, on the bottom, it will say view. Click on the view button and click active speaker, and I should pop up big. But that's up to you to figure out on your device.
No, I can already see you. I see your. Yeah.
It was Bob. Bob had the question. I think you missed that part, whatever. But I appreciate your help. Okay, so we'll get back to it. The first layer of understanding is conductive, insulative, and electrically neutral material, which is copper, silver, gold, what I'm talking about. And those are anti-magnetic conductors, which is an amazing thing, really, that God provides these things for us. Okay, so this is what I was showing. Again, hey, Robert, if you can't see now, this will be recorded, and you can go back and look. Okay? So
I'm good now. I clicked the active view. I did what you said, and I get full screen now.
Okay, great. Great job.
I'm good.
All right. No, I really mean that. A lot of people will hear something like that and then not do it, and then complain later about it. But so here we go. This is the first brace I built. It wasn't the very first brace I built. This is the first one that I made a structure, one that I could take on and off easy. I wore this for probably 3 months, 4 months. It was hell. As you can see how awful this would be to wear. It was bad. But you do what you have to, you do what you want to for freedom. And I'll do just about anything for my freedom, not counting immoral things. But either way, the copper wire right here, the regular copper wire that doesn't have the aluminum foil on it, is just to keep structure. And then also I thought if I kept the more conductivity across my body, that maybe I could increase the effect of these rings, the ring on the bottom and the ring on the top. What those rings are is there are conductor, excuse me, hold on, I'm burping. They are conductors, right? And particularly the ring, it starts with this Romex wire. All right, I put this Romex wire in a different shape and I looped it, I don't know, 5, 10, 15, 20 times, something like that. It just depends like how big you want to make the ring. Like this ring at the bottom was more copper than this ring at top. That was the first layer. And then the second and third layers were saran wrap and metal tape. And then saran wrap and metal tape, and then saran wrap and metal tape. So both rings, the bottom ring, and this would go over me like this. And then my arm would go through one of these loops. The bottom ring is 3 layers alternating of saran wrap and aluminum tape, as is the top layer, and they both have copper in the central. And this bottom layer, I put an extra layer of copper in, and I think 2 extra layers of saran wrap and aluminum foil, just because I wanted to see what would happen.
Do they have to stay in circles?
I wanted to say...
No.
Okay.
No, they do not have to stay in circles. Go ahead, other person.
I built a hat, like I had a baseball cap, and I cut up a motherboard computer, the main board, and taped it all around my hat, and I thought it would shield me from frequencies from going into my head.
Okay, well, that's completely unrelated to what we're talking about right now. Okay, so try to save those questions and comments for later. I'll open it up for a general Q&A later on. But right now we're going to stay on point, okay? So what I'm talking about right now, if you want to comment on what I'm talking about right now, or you've got a question about what I'm saying right now, by all means. But if it's not about what I'm talking about or what I'm saying right now, save it. We'll have a Q&A later, okay? So this was one of my first understandings, all right? I do not recommend you build this way. You can, and it will give you some relief. It will help quite a bit, especially if you put, hold on a second, a conductive layer like this underneath. What this conductive layer is cloth fabric with a holographic metal material on it. Now this in particular, what you would do, because it's only one-sided, right? One side is cloth, one side is this shiny holographic material. I think it's called dancewear at Walmart. You would put you'd put that brace on, then you'd put the metal foil down, and you'd put it over you, all right? And that whole thing would connect your skin to the brace to your body in more surface area than without it, okay? So if you made something like that and you needed it to be more effective, that's how you would make it more effective, is you would add that conductive layer. Now, a better material, but it falls apart quicker, is this Mylar. Mylar, what's great about it is you can see both sides it's the same material all the way through. So no longer do I have to worry about which side of the conductive material is touching the brace and touching my skin. All I have to do with this is put this on and then put the brace over it, and now it's even more effective, okay? So just with conductive and insulative and electrically neutral material, with copper, silver, gold, you can do pretty amazing things, all right? Later on, when they attack you with more weapons, you'll have to adapt that. You'll have to hone that in. So most of you here, with the information that I just gave you about the way I did that before, that will be enough for you to experience, after you EMP, of course, after you use the stun gun EMP, a drastic, if not full, reduction of your symptoms. They will adapt, and you will need to get better and better as time goes on, okay? So that's the first layer. The second layer is mixing what you're doing, like understanding what you're doing with these with these conductive and insulative and electrically neutral copper, silver, gold materials, okay? And what you're doing is you're making inductors and capacitors, all right? Those are very simple electrical components. Let me see, where is it at? I had that wire. A wire like this Romex wire, whatever wire you want. When you, let me do it real quick in real time. And this is what I literally mean when I say an inductor. When you make a coil, any old crappy coil, even one like this, it becomes, with any conductive material, it becomes an inductor, okay? And what does that mean? If you can see my screen, what it means is that there is a magnetic field being produced that's going like this. It's like this is the center of the donut. If you can't see my field, what I've done is I've made a ring with this little bit of wire, and I'm saying that this ring is the center of a donut. The donut is the magnetic field, but you can't see it, but it's there, okay? It's there, that magnetic field. Now, when that magnetic field interacts with your body, what it does until later on is it will break up heavy metal clumps. So just wrapping wire around your body, I know this sounds like, oh, this is way too simple. It can't be that, can't be true. It is true. Until later on, until when they use higher powered weapon systems in conjunction with other higher powered weapon systems, this is very effective. You can just wrap this around the affected part of your body, and it will break up the heavy metal clumping underneath your skin that is making the backstop for directed energy weapons. If you're new here and you don't understand what I'm saying, go back to Onionhead Andrew, Rumble, or YouTube and watch some of the other classes. I've gone over why this stuff works a lot of times. I'll continue to go over it, but for right now, we're going to stay on point. The inductor, right, which is just this coil of wire, it produces that magnetic field, which is donut shaped. And again, this ring, if you can't see, is the center of the empty space of a donut, okay? So that's what an inductor does. It's simply conductive material wrapped in a wire, wrapped in a ring, whether that's aluminum wire or copper wire or whatever. It will all make a magnetic field that will interact with your body. Okay. I suggest you use copper wire, though, because we already got copper wire. It's cheap. We know that it's anti-magnetic. On the other sense, though, it makes that magnetic field, but it also brings it into collapse. So it's pretty helpful for you. You know, it actually helps demagnetize your body as it produces that magnetic field. It's absolutely amazing material. The other thing is the capacitor. What is a capacitor? I didn't bring one. I forgot to. A capacitor is layers of saran wrap. It's more than this, but it's insulative and conductive layers. And the way that we build them, and this is all on Onionhead Andrew Rumble, is that it's plastic wrap, metal foil or aluminum foil or metal tape, plastic wrap, aluminum foil, metal tape, plastic wrap, aluminum foil, metal tape. And that's what I was saying, what I did here. So what this ring is, it's not just conductor and insulator materials. I arranged them in a format to make a capacitor inductor. So both the ideas are present in this ring, and they work together to electrically balance you as you're being attacked. Now, you don't have to do that in a ring. The only reason I did that in a ring is because I did not know the best way at the time to do it, or a better way to do it. The next thing I did, I took that idea and I turned it into this vest, which a lot of you have already seen. All right? This vest is copper first layer arranged vertically, taped together, and then layers of aluminum tape and saran wrap over it. So it's the same thing as the ring, right? But what's better about this is that the magnetic field that the copper wire is producing is much, much less, because it's no longer in a coil, which at the time is what I thought I wanted. Turns out didn't really, but it will help you. Like I said, it helped me for a good 3 weeks, a month, something like that. And then it has more surface area. So the inherent problem with building the rings is that to make that really effective is that you need a ring, every, I don't know, you don't want it gapped more than a quarter, half, 3/4 an inch of gappage between each one. Also, you can use that conductive layer to bridge that issue, but just to make a more cohesive, functioning material application, you would rather have it laid straight, which is why I built the next level, right? Which was this, which is again copper and aluminum tape and saran wrap. Copper being the first layer, stuck together with duct tape, and then the aluminum and saran wrap covering it on the front and the back, and then I taped them together here at the top. Okay? This is why I don't tell anyone to do any given thing. I say, just get the saran wrap, get the aluminum tape, and get the copper wire and get going. All right? Because when you start experimenting with this stuff, you'll find these effects on your body. You'll feel the difference of how EMF is interacting with you. And you'll start feeling where the heavy metal clumpage is and where these symptoms are starting from and spreading throughout your body. And that's the key, really the key concept. If you can understand that concept, you will never, ever go back to how it was before. Even if for a day or 2 days or 3 days, you can't figure out how to neutralize what they're doing to your body, you will never go back to not understanding how this works. And how does it work? Implants, heavy metal nanotech, and directed energy weapons, all right? And you will literally feel it as you move through the wearable process. The first step with the stun gun, you may or may not feel the difference. It depends if the human traffickers in your area are adapting quick or slow. If they're adapting quick, you might not feel the difference. And I think they're adapting fairly quickly with most people that are doing it now. And that's because we've been doing it now for 6 months, and we have stopped a lot of their profit streams and the research and torture objectives that they're after. And now a countermeasure has been deployed everywhere that people are listening to what I'm saying. All right? So if you stun gun and nothing changes, keep stun gunning, but it doesn't mean that you've done anything wrong. It just means, well, potentially, not usually though, it just means that they're hitting you with different weapon systems, and they timed it because they were watching you like they do because they're human traffickers, and they got lined up on that exact moment, and they're running a countermeasure to get you to stop what you're doing, okay? So you stun gun EMP, right? And then you build the wearables and you use them. And then once you do that and you really start feeling these different EMF, the different weapon sets interacting with you, and what it feels like when the heavy metal starts clumping underneath your skin, because you can literally feel it. It's a literal feeling, and that you're going to hone in, and then the energy spreading and pulsing and vibrating from those spots, right? Once you do that, then you'll move into detox, and you'll really start to understand detox. How do I detox this stuff as rapidly as possible? And also, how do I treat the long-term accumulation of this stuff? And that's a conversation for a different day. We can talk about it in the Q&A if anybody's got any questions. The first layer was understanding what conductors are, what insulators are, and what electrically aligned material, neutrally aligned material is: copper, silver, and gold. The second layer of understanding this, so 101's conductive, insulator, copper, silver, gold. 201 is capacitors and inductors. 301 is understanding how to manipulate the conductive material to hold different polarities, whether that's a reverse polarity, magnetic polarity, or electrostatic polarity, or even variations of that. And that's 301, basically utilizing magnets in the conductive layer. All right? The reason I don't go fully into that is because almost nobody's ready for it. There's only maybe 4 people that are ready for it, and they're figuring it out on their own because they've already done the work. And I also help them too when they have specific questions. But they've already done the work. They can feel the heavy metal clumps, and they're already building the wearables and working on and detoxing and all that type of thing. So I do talk about it somewhat, but it's just as a group we are not quite there to really grasp what I have to say. Okay, there will be a time I will talk about it in more in depth. I pray upon it all the time. When will that time be? And I'm sure it's coming soon, but we're not ready for it. What I can say right now is that the base information of the 301 level of learning about these wearables with the magnets is when you hold magnets close to each other, suspended from each other in attraction, the space in between becomes electrostatically charged. When you hold them in reverse polarity with space in between each other, the space in between it becomes magnetically charged. And again, this is the issue, is that you need to move through the first step and the second step to understand why the physics is important. All right? You will literally learn to feel the difference between this slow, hot, pervasive magnetic charge versus the very jumpy pulsing of the electrostatic charge. Both sets of weapons are used on you. Most targets it's like 95% magnetic weapon sets, 5% electrostatic, right? As you move through the paradigm, they end up using everything they have, right? So it could be any given day that could change. They could do 80% electrostatic weapons one day and 20% magnetic, and then the next day the opposite, 80% magnetic weapons, 20% electrostatic. And you will learn to feel the difference, all right? But you need to learn how to feel the difference, and the only way you learn how to feel the difference that I know of as of right now is building and utilizing the stun gun EMP, right? Getting those implants deactivated has to be step one, because without it, the clumping is automatic. When you've got the implant still functioning in you, you breathe this crap in, you eat this crap in corporate food, whatever it may be, it goes right to the implants. It immediately starts clumping. That's what the implants are really doing. They're an autonomic or atomic, no, that's not right, automatic. They're an automatic clumping device. They take magnetic charge coming from dews and turn that into an electrostatic pull that pulls in material around it. And so each spot of implant will become like a little clump, and then these little clumps will connect each other. And when I mean clump, it's not actually a clump. It's more of like a web. It's like a lattice, a very thin, very, very thin lattice, but it's still thick enough to carry the charge and for you to perceive it as swelling, heat, just all your symptoms that you're getting. Okay? So first layer, conductive, insulator. This is last time I'm going to say it. Just the third time, just so we really get it. The first layer is conductive, insulator, and copper, silver, gold. And if you have the means to use silver and gold, by all means do so, because silver and gold are copper, but even better. Okay? The second layer is understanding that when you arrange wire, conductive material in certain ways, you can make an inductive field, which is to say rings, or a concentration of material with a space in between it. So even this is making, even though there's a gap right here, right, it's still making magnetic fields that are similar to a toroidal shape, but not nearly as effective as a ring shape. And again, that's why my first attempt, I put it in a ring. Before I realized, I was like, you know what? The main issue I'm dealing with is magnetism here. So I could probably focus more on building the capacitor part of it and get more out of it, which was here. And when I did that, at that period, the people attacking me, because they're MIT, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, That's the guys that are out here now because of me helping people. They realized that, and so they started using more electrostatic weapons, right? So then that became void. Or not void, really. I can still utilize it for some things sometimes, but for the most of what I'm doing, it's just not as effective as it once was. Okay? The third layer of understanding, those are the first two layers of understanding. Oh, the capacitor, I forgot to say that. The second thing in the second layer is the capacitor. And the capacitor is taking insulative materials and conductive materials and layering them. And insulative materials are electrostatic accumulators, and conductive materials, generally speaking, are magnetic or have the ability to carry more magnetism than not, all right, than just the space around it. That's a good way. So I guess you could say magnetic accumulator also, but that's not quite how it works. It's very interesting. But the physics part of it will come with more time. I'll explain it again and again, the space layer, and then we'll move more into the bigger understandings, right, as more people are ready for it. Okay, so you get these layers of electrostatic accumulator and these metals that can hold magnetic charge, right? And you put them in layers 3, 4, 5 layers, something like that, whatever. What that does is it creates between the first layer of the capacitor and the last layer of the capacitor, in that space between, it accumulates an electrostatic charge, all right? So that ends up becoming an electrostatic, a holder of electrostaticism, or dielectricism, okay? If you're dealing with magnetic weapons, you need to make that charge with dielectric or electrostatics. If you're dealing with electrostatics, you need to make that charge with magnetism. Magnetism is low pressure, dielectricism or electrostaticism is high pressure. And what we're always aiming for is neutral. When we can get things neutrally aligned, we're in wellness. So that's 101, that's 201, that's the theory behind it, that's why we're doing it. 301 is changing the polarity of the conductive materials and whatever you're utilizing with magnets. And that right there, when you get to that 301 point, the world is your oyster, all right? Because really what we're doing at the 301 point with the magnets is we are going from very simple resonant circuits to a little bit more complicated circuits. And we are doing it with magnets. Yeah, and there's more. There's so much more that could be said about that. All right, but that's all we're doing with the wearables is we are building rudimentary circuits that we can wear. And it's like when people hear it like that, it's so obvious. Why didn't we think of this before? Because we've been so hyper-focused as a community, whatever community is really here, on shielding, that we forgot this is all electrical. Our bodies, the things attacking us. So let's not think about blocking it. Let's think about interacting with it electrically. And when we hold those concepts in mind and we can really start feeling the different fields interact with us, the different EMF interacting with us, different electromagnetic fields interacting with us, then we have a special ability, right? A God-given, by the grace of God, truly a gift from Him. We can feel EMF in a way that no one before us has ever felt, to a specificity that has never been experienced before. All right? That is truly a gift from God if you step into it. All right? If you do the deactivating of the implants and then you start messing around with these wearables, knowing that you're going to get more resistance, knowing that these human traffickers in your area are going to make sharp countermeasures. If you power through that, you will be given a gift that very few people alive have ever experienced. And that's the ability to feel the fundamental layer of nature. You will feel the fundamental layer of nature. What is that? It's dielectricism and electrostatics over here, magnetism over here, and neutral. And you will understand that neutral is really wellness. That's what wellness is. It's an oscillation over neutral, tightly around neutral. The healthier you are, the more electrically aligned you are with neutral in a non-static way. Meaning, again, you're like vibrating over this idea. And what I mean by that, you're vibrating over, I mean all the different organs in your body collectively are vibrating over that neutral point that's specific to human beings. And I bet you it changes a little bit from person to person. So, from me to, a little child would be a little bit different, as is me from my 80-year-old self would be a little bit different, where that electrical neutral point is. But that's what we're facilitating. That's what good health is. What they are doing, attacking you with these directed energy weapons, is they are trying to change that vibration, either make it extremely electrostatic or extremely magnetic. And they would prefer to keep things in the magnetic realm, because in the magnetic realm, it's much, much more controllable for them. Electrostatics are a lot harder to deal with. They're not as precise. Because just the nature of electrostatics, and I could get into the physics of it more and more, but I don't want to lose people in the weeds here, just for where we are right now. So I guess I will repeat myself one more time, because it takes this many times so we can fully understand these things. 101 is conductive, insulator, and copper, silver, gold. Those three categories. Conductor, insulator, copper, silver, gold. 201 is mixing conductive and insulative material to make capacitors, and then arranging conductive material to make inductors, and then combining those two ideas. So 201 is inductors, capacitors, and inductor capacitors. And when you build inductor capacitors, you've got a resonant circuit, which was the first circuit that was ever invented. They took a big piece of copper and they flattened it out on two ends and left a gap, and then on the other end they coiled it, right? So it was like a open, it looked like the letter C on with a very little gap for the C. On the opposite side of the open gap was a coil of wire, and they ran electricity through that, and they went, why does the electricity bound back and forth? Why does it go from to this thing that we're going to call a capacitor? I can't remember, they called it something different in the day 100 years ago. But why does it go from a capacitor to an inductor? What's going on here? Because those are two sides of the same coin. The coin is how electricity works. The two sides are electrostatic dielectricism on one side and magnetic on the other side, or capacitors and inductors. Inductors make a magnetic field. Capacitors make a dielectric sink, which is to say a dielectric field. I don't want to confuse that too much. Okay, that's the second layer. The third layer is affecting the inductance and capacitance of whatever material you're using in the conductive layer with magnets. Okay, so you take that resonant circuit and you add a little bit of complexity to it. And basically, you put the magnets in attraction, you add electrostatic energy to that circuit. If you put the magnets in reverse polarity, so pushing against each other, you add magneticism to that circuit. All right? With that information right there, any one of you that's being targeted, if you stun gun EMP, can change your life in the next few days. All right? And then after that, know that you're going to be continuously battling these people. Their job is to keep you in this slave system, this human trafficking, is to hit you with these weapons, toxify you, torture you, kill you. Okay, that's their job. So if you break free, and since we don't have any physical space we can escape to, we're going to have to do it again and again and again and again, every day, every few days, every week, every 2 weeks. It's totally dependent on how the human traffickers in your area are adjusting to your attempts at freedom. But it's a continuous thing that you need to do over and over and over and over. Okay, so I think I've showed everything I'm going to show. I'm just looking at what I brought. Here's one more thing. Here's another good conductor. This is Mylar. All right, this is the Mylar. It's called Reflectex. You can use this as your building too. And by the way, help me. If you find materials for your wearables that are doing something very effective, tell me about it, and then I'll try to figure out what electrically is happening, because I can feel it. It's not guesswork for me. I can literally feel this stuff. You know how many physicists would have killed to have this, this ability to feel EMF in real time? I can literally feel the difference between magnets and polarity or reverse polarity. I can feel the difference as I walk through rooms now, right? Because I've been so attuned to this, and probably nervous system damage too. But whatever, that's the dark side of it. Anyway, try not to get off on this. The Mylar Reflectex is a good material to use. The only issue with it is that you have conductivity split up from side to side. That's why I taped this one together, so that it breached the conductivity around, so that it would be like one plane. It would basically be like this Mylar, right, which is conductive all the way through. So you do have to think about that if you use any two-sided material that has a gap in the middle. And then, that's enough for now. I could say more about the physics, but I'll leave it alone for now, and we'll go ahead and we'll open it up to questions. I'm sure a lot of you will get excited about what we just talked about. So go ahead and ask away.
Yeah, it's exciting. I wanted to know, so what I did one day was just, I've made these like cuffs to put around my ankles, and I didn't put so much Mylar underneath, and that makes a big difference, by the way. So then the next day I packed the Mylar underneath my Romex cable, and but you're right about the magnets, because some days I can put them in where they connect to each other, and that works. And then the next day I might have to switch it in reverse. It just depends on what I'm feeling. So if I switch it and I go, oh, it's happening. So you feel the change. So you just got to keep experimenting and experimenting. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. So that's I'm so glad you commented first, because you're one of the few people that's at that 301 level of understanding right now, and you're benefiting dramatically from it, right? You are learning, you are feeling the EMF in a way that very few people alive have ever felt. And you can literally, when you put it in polarity, you're adding electrostatic or dielectricism to whatever circuit you've got going, right? That's what you're doing. So if that gives you relief, then you know that whatever was targeting that part of your body was magnetic in nature. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah, perfect sense.
Okay, and then the opposite is true also. If you put it in reverse polarity and it gives you relief, then you know whatever was targeting that area was electrostatic. So Sandy's figuring it out. You're literally getting the world's best physics education. That's
in a cruel way.
in the world's cruelest way. Yep. It's like Tesla boot camp.
Well, I watched that Cardicom guy too. I really had to rewatch, but one of the things that lady, the doctor that she was talking to, she said, get some red wine. She had a toothache, and she rinsed her mouth out and spit that red wine. Well, I went and did it exactly right after I watched that video, and you would not believe what came out of my mouth. So
hold on. Let me explain to people what you're talking about. Clifford Carnicombe is slightly unrelated, but it actually is related. Clifford Carnicombe is the guy that's been doing the vanguard research on nanotech for the last 25 years. And what they discovered about 15, 18 years ago is that when you drink anything with tannins, lots of tannins, but particularly wine, because it's available, it's got lots of tannins, and there's something about the alcohol that actually helps draw these things out. But when you drink it and you swish it around your mouth and then you spit it out, what you spit out, you'll be able to see the nanotech, because the nanotech does not like the tannins, and it's also attracted to the alcohol. So it's a combination thing. It just draws it out really quickly. And that's what Sandy was saying that she had done. She had done the wine spit test, and she had seen the nanotech in her whatever she spit it into.
The sink, of course. It's weird, isn't it, if somebody else has done it?
Yeah, Kay, go ahead.
I tried that test, but I don't really like red wine, but I ended up drinking all the wine.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's easy to do being targeted, but try to stay away from it because it grows the nanotech. Okay, so anybody got any other questions?
Yeah, I wanted to know about some of the psychological effects. Are these wearables or anything that we're doing, are they helping us with the psychological aspects of this?
Yes, 100%. Yes, well, yes, and a little bit no, but primarily yes, because you're giving the capacity to move about your environment back to you. So, you are no longer, I don't know the right way to phrase it, but the victim mindset completely leaves you, all right? That's the best way to say it. As you move into this, I'm not saying that you have it, but when you're being targeted, it's hard not to. It's like out of your control, right? That's how you feel. Well, no longer. When you do the stun gun and you build the wearables and you start feeling these things, it's no longer out of your control. But that being said, it will start really, really pissing you off, because it's like every day you're breaking free and these people are trying to put you back into this human trafficking torture kill thing. And before, when it's happening every day, you kind of forget the severity of the situation that you're in, although it's the same thing, if not worse. It is worse before you do the wearables and the stun gun. After you do the wearables and the stun gun, it forces you to deal with the reality that there are these murderous people that are being paid by your government to kill you in a moment-to-moment basis. And that can be very, very infuriating in the moment-to-moment basis. Not only that, but they will come into your environment. They will get as close to you as they can once you do that. Okay, so get ready for that. Get your camera out, whatever you're going to do. Start recording these people, because they're going to get right up in your face with the aerosols. And if they can't get you with the aerosols, they'll try to poison your food. They'll offer you bad food. They'll do whatever they can, right? They'll try to be your romantic partner, whatever it may be. Whatever they were doing before, they're going to try all those other techniques, 100 times over, because the directed energy weapons aren't carrying the load like they were before, right? So that could mean breaking into your house, spraying chemical weapons.
Andrew, I want to ask a question about the aerosols. Like, if like they're spraying, like they squirted stuff on my food a few times, like powerful neurotoxins that damage millions or billions of my brain cells. But so I don't worry about it now. They stopped doing that. Like, they literally just stopped squirting my food with poison about 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's because they're utilizing the directed energy weapons more effectively. But they still, if that's what I was just saying, if you move through the paradigm, you've got to start watching for these other outcomes. Like, they'll go back to older technologies, which is spraying herbicides and pesticides during break-ins.
Yeah, and so the herbicide or the pesticide, I actually heard a TI recently use the word manicide, which is like they're like killing men.
Well, yeah, that's what those herbicides and pesticides are, dual-use weapons. They're not actually, I mean, yes, they kill insects and whatnot, stuff like that, but in other plants. But they're really aimed at is toxifying the environment for a whole bunch of reasons. It just depends, right? But they're not. They're all dual-use weapons. That's why the oil companies make them all.
So you use the word toxic, that rang a bell in my head. Like, why are the perpetrators so toxic? Why can't they be peaceful and loving instead of being toxic and hateful and violent?
That's a conversation for another time. To be honest, I want to keep it on the wearables right now. Okay. It is something to think about, though. All right. Does anybody else have any questions?
So I just have a comment.
Go ahead, expert.
Yeah, so actually I built my first wearable, and so I'm really excited about it. And so I didn't expect it to work as well as it is, but what I'm thinking, because I've always wear the copper clothing, and so I added the magnet also to my wearable, and so it works really well, and it's just one piece. So actually what I've done, I just keep moving it around wherever I feel them hitting me. And, has been very good, so I'm really excited to move on. I made a brace, and the reason why I made a brace because they were attacking me so bad, and so this was easier to make than to make the apron because this was like an emergency.
Yeah.
First, and so I got relieved, so I could just move on to the other areas. But
that's fantastic. That's exactly. Even though you said it's not the apron, it's just what you needed at that time. That's exactly the right way to do it, because you'll spend so much energy optimizing something, and then it will be made redundant. And it's like, why did I bother? I should have just kept making these little things that worked.
I have a whole backpack that I pull out of at times. So I have my stuff that's on, and I have like the apron that she's talking about. I've made one, and when what I have on isn't enough, then I can pull them out of my backpack and start putting them in wherever I feel I'm being hit.
That's exactly what I do too. When I go somewhere without my stuff, I carry a backpack of tools so that I can adapt in real time. Go ahead, expert.
Yeah, so actually what she's saying is what I'm planning on doing. So I'm going to be working on the apron. And so I think I'll be able to still use the braces wherever I need to use it. But I have a plan, and I know it's going to work. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited about this whole thing. I just want to thank you for all that you have done to help me, because I was in a really bad state. So I feel
you're welcome. Not to make your life too personal here, but I bet you and your husband are getting along better, aren't you?
We always do.
Well, when we're hurting, it's like the constant pain can just wreck our relationships, Yeah. But you just keep chugging along. It sounds like you're doing exactly what needs to be done, and with everything else you're doing, you're getting all these tools in your wheelhouse, however that phrase goes, tools in your tool bag that you can pull out and utilize. And even if they overcome what you're doing for a day, 2 days, 3 days, something like that, it's very simple. Stop eating, all right, and enter prayer. And when you stop eating, enter prayer, you will get your answer. And then if you don't, in that process, send me an email. I'll try to walk you through it. But you'll get it by yourself. You won't need me moving forward pretty soon here. You're almost at that point where it's like you just pray, and I know you've got this background. God will show you what needs to happen, or what you need to do, or what things you need to get, or how you need to arrange them. It's absolutely amazing. That's the only way I'm here able to talk to you every week.
Thank you.
I also put sunscreen on now all over my body. I think that's helping when they're spraying those pesticides at me. They were doing that at work, and the burning that's happening, I don't think it's penetrating so badly.
All right, that's a great easy solution. Most people don't have that. Expert actually has that problem too. They're spraying her with those vicious chemicals also. Did you hear that?
Yeah, so there actually is the poison, and the poison is continuous. But so because at first they actually broke in and poisoned everything and it's really bad. But what has helped me, and I'm telling you, it works really well. The chlorine dioxide, that has changed. It changed the situation a lot for me. I still have a lot more cleanup to do, but it reduced the cleaning process at least, I would say, 95%.
Wow. Oh, so another breakthrough. Another breakthrough.
Yeah, it's very effective. So
okay,
I ordered the machine, but it's not working. It didn't work well, so I have to back, and I ordered a different one, so hopefully this one should be better.
Well, I bet you they're sabotaging those because they know what you're doing.
That's what I thought. That's what I think. I believe that because I have so many sun guns I'd ordered, and the first one I ordered, it works perfect. But the ones I ordered after that, they don't have the power in it. So I think that's what's happening.
Yeah, they're sabotaging you. You should stop ordering from Amazon. But hey, if you go to Home Depot, I believe they have a fogger on the retail that Ryobi makes.
Okay.
I think it's like $100, give or take. I've been meaning to do it. I just don't have the money right now. But thank you so much for everyone that's dealing with chemicals in their area. Chlorine dioxide is a viable solution. You're the third person I've heard that from, and I trust you. We've been talking now for a long time, so everybody take that with them. If you're dealing with aerosols or chemicals that are in the thicker, more stinky nature, more so than just like the particulate, although it probably helps with the particulate too, get some chlorine dioxide. You can get that as water purification tablets, I believe.
I wanted to ask Andrew, like, if it's chlorine dioxide, it's like they call it the mineral miracle solution, and it's like little like beige crystals, and they raise the pH balance of the cells in the body to kill viruses.
Yeah, I think that's the same thing. I don't know particularly. I don't know exactly what you're talking about, but it's chlorine dioxide. It comes in many different forms.
Yeah,
is there anything?
It's the same thing, but one you ingest it, and the other for cleaning. So the one that you ingest is a smaller dosage, and then the one you use to clean.
Okay, great. Thank you. I appreciate it. That's fantastic information.
No, it's called mineral sodium solution, mineral miracle solution. It's like these little crystals, and it raises the pH balance of the cells in the body to kill out viruses.
Expert one, have you taken a pill, or are you just using that for cleaning? Do you take the?
It's like a bottle of flakes. It's not pills. It's just like little flakes.
Well, hold on. Sandy's asking a pertinent question to Expert One, so just wait for Expert One's response, please. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm sorry. What was the question?
Have you taken them orally?
Yes, I do have the tablets. Yeah, I do have the tablets. It's so I don't remember how much you use, but anyway, you have instruction when you purchase it. But I do have the tablets that we dilute in the water, dissolve in the water, and take that orally. And then the one that you use to clean. The one that I use to clean, the most economical way to do it is buy the tablets and dilute it in the water, and then use that to do your cleaning. And it works really well.
All right. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that information. That's great information.
Yes,
and that should help with your office, Sandy, and your car. So that's the big awesome. That's the big information. It's us going out there as a group and figuring out what actually is happening and using the paradigm to do that accurately, getting an accurate idea of what works and why it's working, and then sharing that information. So great job, Expert. I really appreciate you. Okay, does anybody else have any questions? Preferably about the wearables. It doesn't have to be, but preferably on point.
Well, I was talking about you earlier. I I cut a hat for shielding with the computer board, and I glued it on my baseball cap, and it seemed like it could be shielding radio waves coming into my head.
No, see, it wouldn't work like that because the electricity has got to flow through the board to have an effect. All right, hey man, you've been talking a lot, and Bob's been wanting to talk. He was asking me before, so I'm gonna let Bob go. Okay. Thank you. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about the inductive coils in the wearables.
Uh-huh.
The device that you showed earlier with the two big coils, the large coils, did those go around your body?
Yeah. So I'll hold it up right now. You would put this over your head like this and get into it, and this would end up being at waist level. Be right about the belly button.
I wanted to ask you what you thought about wearing the coils like flat against your body, as opposed to putting them around you. You know, like taking and turning it horizontal and like attaching it to your clothing. What do you think about that?
I think that would be effective. I think I think that would be fine. Do what you think, so you know exactly what I've done, and you know why I've done it. Now think about what's the best application for you. If you can get that to work like you're asking me about right now, and you think that's the best application for you right now, by all means do it. The effect will be greater with you in the center of it, but anywhere is a good place to start, because you're going to have to modify it. It's going to be something that you end up doing habitually, modifying these things and adapting.
Yeah. I built one coil that I had intended to wear around my body, and it came out too small. So what I ended up doing is I've just been looping it over my neck, so it hangs down across my chest, where I've had a lot of where I'm still currently having Morgellons issues, and then I got a smaller coil placed above that, and so I'm thinking in terms of comfort and just being able to get around, that opposed to like the other wearable that you showed was like copper wire, basically up and down, vertical, right?
Yeah, and it makes like a vest. Oh, you can't see, that's right. Or maybe you can.
Yeah, no, I can see it. You're just in the smaller window, and I can blow it up. I just did the presenter view, and it blows it up. But yeah, so my question, so what I'm thinking is I may try coils attached, multiple coils attached to clothing, as opposed to, trying to wear it around me, to make it, more versatile, easier to get into and adjust it and that kind of thing.
Okay, so the big key with that, if you end up going that route, is that you want the electrical effect to be transmitted to your body, as much surface area as possible. To facilitate that, get the conductive layer. Really don't skimp on that. Don't skip that. Get the copper clothes. It's another alternative. I don't order anything, because everything I get ordered is tampered, as is a lot of you here on this call, I'm sure, experience the same thing. But so I don't have any copper clothes. What I use is those Mylar blankets, the Reflectex, and that holographic cloth, right, with the metal sheen, the metal foil on one side. All of those things make a conductive layer. That's what I mean. Have that conductive layer interact with whatever thing you've built, and then the surface of your skin. That conduction needs to transfer the rings or whatever you're doing to the material that's conductor to the surface of your skin. If you keep that in mind, whatever you do is going to have a good result.
Okay.
I appreciate it, Bob. Dr. Q, see you. Do you want to say something?
Hey, Andrew, this is Lynette. I want to ask you a question.
Hey, Lynette.
If you were to make a flat wearable, like, for a blanket or for over your bed or something like that, how would you make it?
Well, I would do it like this, okay? Like I showed you, like this vest, which
okay,
is.
So that's you're doing like the Mylar. Is that right?
No,
Mylar?
it goes like this. It goes copper wire, arranged, lengthwise, so that you've got the wire. You don't have to strip the wire, by the way. You've got the wire running like this, right? I don't know if you can see my video. No, you probably can't.
So would you do it like in loops? Like the wire in loops or something like that? Is that
No, you would arrange. So that's where I was asking if you could see my video. You would arrange it up and down, all right? Not in loops, just flat up and down, and then you would wrap. So you make a mat with copper wire, whatever size you want it to, and then you want to keep that wire pretty tight, but doesn't have to be super tight to each other. Every row of wire, right? So the wire is flat and it's in rows, right? It's not in loops, just in rows. And then you duct tape that together so it makes a nice mat. And then you cover that mat with plastic wrap and aluminum foil. Now, let me jump ahead here. Oh, wait, did you understand that?
Now, let me ask you real quick. Does the wire you send, are they like pieces of copper you're saying in rows, or are they connected together?
Lynette, are you subscribed to the Onionhead Andrew YouTube or Rumble?
I do the Rumble.
Okay, great. This video will be downloaded or uploaded tomorrow, and you'll be able to see exactly what I've said. All right.
On either one, Rumble or YouTube?
Yeah, either one. But I'll say it again. The copper wire is arranged vertically in rows. Okay. So, and then you make a mat out of that, and then you wrap that with layers of aluminum and saran wrap, about 3 layers alternating. So aluminum, saran wrap, aluminum, saran wrap, aluminum, saran wrap, over the electrical wire. And the electrical wire is the foundation in which these things get wrapped over. Now, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you trying to give yourself more protection when you sleep?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. The better idea is giving yourself protection 24/7 that you can wear to sleep. That idea is going to get you a lot farther.
And do you have the wearables video? Is that on Rumble too?
Yes, it is.
Does it say wearables, or do I have to search for it? Or...
It'll say, there's a few videos about this. This is probably the 5th time we've talked about it, but it'll say like EMF armor or how to build or DIY. The DIY and the how to builds will be like me showing you how to build the rings or the capacitors. And the other ones will be talks like this where we've talked about it. All of that information will help you. But really, Lynette, right now, get yourself, you know what I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it. Get yourself some copper wire. Get yourself some aluminum foil or metal tape, preferably metal tape, and aluminum foil, but preferably metal tape. And then get yourself some plastic wrap. Those 3 things, and start experimenting with them. And then a little bit further, right, get yourself those mylar or a conductive layer in which you can put all of these things on. And it will really, really help you, like a lot. Especially, have you used the stun gun, EMP?
I've seen it. I seen James Shen video years ago, like 10 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, a long time ago.
I know the concept, yeah.
Okay.
And I have everything. I just got to make it.
Okay, all right.
So,
I'm not, this is not me trying to be mean about it, but there's, I do not want to be mean about it. There is a thing that we experience as survivors where we get trapped in these like dual ideas and we don't know how to move forward, right? Or we don't know if we should move forward or what that entails. I'm not saying that's what you're doing. I'm saying that happens often in a subconscious level. A lot of the...
I know. They try everything to block your progress. I get it.
They're trying to keep you in a state of learned helplessness. That's what that is. I'm not saying you're a bad person for. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I do.
So commit
question
to
for
it.
you: is there anything you can use in lieu of the Saran wrap, or does it have to be Saran wrap?
No, it just needs to be an insulator. The best thing about Saran wrap, though, or PVC, yes, I know aluminum can cause cancer, PVC can cause cancer, even copper wire can cause cancer. Everything is causing cancer. I understand that. The weapon systems that you're being exposed to are causing turbo cancer in the immediate short term, okay? Yeah, you do not, once you resolve most of these electrical conditions, this latent magnetism that's in your body and these heavy metal clumps, the exposure to PVC and aluminum foil and all that type of thing is negligible. I really mean that. It is negligible compared to what you're experiencing right now. Meaning that you can get the so-called forever chemicals and all that thing, you can get out of your body with a 3-day fast or a 4-day fast.
Is aluminum considered conductive?
Yes. Yes, it's the reason we use aluminum is because it's the cheapest conductor we can find and most versatile.
Okay. So, and does that mean that, because I thought anything conductive that metal will stick to it, is that not necessarily true?
Anything conductive metal will stick to. Do you mean a magnet?
Yes.
Not necessarily. Like, for example, copper is anti-magnetic, so it doesn't stick to it. I don't. Right, you probably weren't here for that. The Lenz's law thing. It'll be on the video though when you rewatch this. You'll see what I'm talking about. But copper is conductive. So there are a few metals.
And aluminum is conductive?
Aluminum is conductive, yes.
Okay, that's what I needed to know. Cool.
Yep. Okay, so yeah, get those 3 materials and get going. But if you got the stun gun stuff, get it done. Get it done right now or very soon. Or don't, Lynette. And because the thing is that when you put yourself in position to do these things and you don't do them, you're actually worse off, right? Because they'll start attacking you more just because you thought about doing these things, right? And if you're not building protections from against this human trafficking, then they've still got all the access and you're showing signs of breaking free. What is any slaver going to do? They're going to get their whip out.
Believe me, I whip them back.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And that's just a technique I got. But anyway, though, yeah, I do get it because I normally just because I did that scan and I cover my my biosensors with repelling magnets, and it does work pretty good. But they just go to the other part that's not covered, So.
Yeah, exactly. So you get this understanding of insulative, conductive, and copper, and then also you run the stun gun EMP. And you'll be sailing. Just like Expert One, just like Sandy. Is there anybody else here that has been doing hard work? I'm looking. If by the way, Charlie, he's been doing some work. If you've been doing the work and you want to just talk, just to put your name in the mix so I remember you, I know there's a few people I see quite often here that don't usually talk. Please do, and that actually helps me quite a bit. Yeah, there's a few of you actually. We've got about 6-7 people here right now that have been doing a really good amount of work. Maybe a few more that haven't been talking to me. I'm sure there's a few more that haven't.
I wanted to bring up something really quick. One of my friends, TI friends, got this little capacitor, probably like an inch by an inch. It's an actual capacitor, and he put it to a 9-volt rechargeable battery. So when they zapped him, I guess the capacitor absorbed it, and it took it to the rechargeable battery, and then he would recharge the 9-volt. He would discharge the 9-volt battery. Is that something that can be done? And what he did is he'd wear it in his hat.
Yeah, no, that's the same concept we're working with right now, but what I'm telling you about is way, way, way more effective than that. but it's the same electrical concept.
Gotcha. Okay.
Thanks, Lynette.
Hey, Andrew, I got a question for
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Joe.
To get copper wire, you know, when you break apart any machine, it's got that wire that's, you know, in it around the motor. Is that, you know, you look like it is copper, right? But I don't know if it's copper all the way through. Is that a good source of copper wire, you think?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, no, pretty much any copper you can scrap like that. You just figure out how to, like, arrange it, you know, like with duct tape or something. But yeah, any copper you can get. And then you know what you can, you can do.
Taking it off the motor, you know, trying to get it, extract it from that. I don't know if that's a good way to do that, because it's kind of hard, you know. It loops around. You
use an angle grinder. That's how the professionals do it when they strip the motors.
Angle, and what was it called again?
An angle grinder.
Angle grinder. Okay.
Yeah, hey, just keep your eyes open for them. Look it up right now and keep your eye open for them at garage sales. You'll be able to find one, or on Marketplace or something for nothing, $1 or $2, you know, $5, something like that.
Well, Harbor Freight. If you go to Harbor Freight, it's very cheap there. You could buy one.
Yeah, very true. But yeah, you grind them out. You grind the copper out. And you know, the other thing, Joe, is that if you end up collecting a bunch of copper, you can actually, all you got to do, I think actually you got to heat it up quite substantially. It's like 2,000 degrees or something like that. So maybe that's not the easiest idea, but you heat it up in a furnace. You get like yourself an electric furnace, and then you can pour it out in sheets and stuff and make all sorts of things. That's something I've been wanting to do for a long time. I haven't got into. That's way out there. Sorry. Okay. Hey, anybody else got any other questions? Go ahead.
Yeah, you said like I was talking too long, but I only talked for like 3 minutes.
No, you see, you've been chiming in a lot. And I'm not trying to make you feel bad or anything. That's not the point. But a lot of it's been off topic or just kind of not helpful. So that's why I was saying just back up a little bit, please.
Okay, I respect that. Thank you for your answer.
Yeah, you're welcome. I appreciate you, man. Yeah, go ahead.
Hello. With your vest, when you make a vest, does that cover your whole body? Does that protect your whole body?
Hold on.
The area where you wear the vest.
It protects. So the way it works is that, to answer your question shortly, is no, it doesn't cover my whole body. But what we're after is we want to cover our midsection from just above our genitals to just below our neck. That's where you have the biggest EMF sink, or where they aim the weapons, basically.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Whenever it goes to your head, right? It's because it's being pulled up through your midsection. Yeah, there's a little bit more to that. It involves understanding those heavy metal clumps. But, you know, without the stun gun or the EMP, you will not feel that happen, because all of those implants there'll be like, however many implants you've got, 30, 40, 50, something like that for everybody. You will have clumps around each of those implants. And so when they hit one of the clumps, whatever area of the body they're targeting, you won't be able to pinpoint feel it unless they use a specific weapon. It'll just branch out across all of it.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Andrew, I have 2 questions.
Oops.
Okay, let's let Guest. Yeah, okay, and then Kay's next. Go ahead, Guest.
Okay, so my first question is, does this work with all frequencies on the spectrum?
Yes, but you see, I don't know how long you've been here, but have you heard anything else that we've done before here at the Onionhead Andrew podcast?
Yes, I just want to see if it works for higher frequencies, like if it's in like gamma stage of type of weaponry, if they're using that.
Yes, it will, but only, I mean, so that's a loaded question. There are the spectrum that we, you know, the electromagnetic spectrum that are being weaponized against us is, like you were saying, it's from extremely low frequency all the way up to gamma ray or something like that, right? I've seen evidence of all of those things, everything in between that. The nature of it interacting with us, however, is it magnetic predominant or electrostatic predominant? Okay? Those two, they're on the opposite side. Electrostatic, dielectric over here, magnetic over here, neutral in the middle. Those two are going to be utilized at different frequencies, from extremely low frequency potentially to gamma ray, to clump heavy metal in your body. Okay? When that heavy metal clumps, that's when that's when a lot more EMF can hit you, okay, can interact with you. Does gamma ray clump heavy metals? I don't think so. It might. I don't think so, though. I don't think it holds enough energy because it's such a tight band. Or maybe it holds too much energy. I don't know. I really don't know. It's what's clumping the heavy metals. Is it magnetic predominant or dielectric predominant? That's much more relevant to your survival than are they using RF or microwave or ultraviolet or whatever. You know, that part of it is secondary. It is important for discovery reasons, for proving this is happening, right, on a later date when, you know, the public's ready to end this slavery, this form of slavery. By all means, that will be very important. But right now, what's more important is your survival. And that is more what I was just saying, understanding magnetic or dielectric. Do these things, do the tools I showed you, do they help with that? Yes. Do you have to learn how to use them? Yes. It's not build it once, put it on, one and done deal. Don't have to learn anything. Go to the store, buy it. You know, it's done. It's like learning to ski, right? I'm telling you how to ski, but every slope's going to be different, and every moment in the slope it's going to be different. So, like, you know, one day that black diamond is easy. The next day during the blizzard, it's near impossible and you could die, right? And that's kind of the situation that we're in. You've got to learn, you got to take these tools and learn how to use them. And I can't help you with that part of it, just like your ski instructor can't ski down the hill for you. But yes, these are tools, and yes, they will help you dramatically.
Okay. And my second question that I have is, does having Wi-Fi, is there some way how they could use Wi-Fi to interact with your body?
Yeah, they piggyback basically. There's a longer explanation, but just to put it quickly, this is true of with your electrical outlets too. They'll piggyback off the energy that's available to them, whether it's weaponized outlets or your Wi-Fi or whatever, to complete a temporary circuit, polarizing you even more.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, that's another conversation that we haven't gone over much, that we really could go over a lot more, but it's not my area of expertise. I don't know a lot about it. I just know that it happens, and I know the theory behind it. But anything else beyond that, I can't really answer your questions.
I wanted to say, because you mentioned the black diamond skiing, and I used to go downhill skiing before I was targeted. I used to be able to ski really well down the slope of a mountain with the snow on top. And after I got targeted, though, it got a lot harder. And but you were saying the black diamond, I totally realized that. You're right. Like, some days you could ski down the black diamond when it's clear, but when it's snowy and blizzardy, it's like impossible.
Okay, hey, I don't want to do this, but you're kind of forcing my hand here. That's the exact type of comments I was telling you not to say. All right, it's not helping anybody. All right, I just, we're not here to talk about ourselves. We're here to save people's lives. And I don't want to be a jerk about it. I don't want to have to reprimand you again. So I'm going to mute you. And if it has to happen again, I'm just going to remove you. But I do appreciate you being here, and I do wish the best for your survival and your life and everything. But please, no more comments like that. All right, next question.
Would it be true to say, Andrew? Sorry, I'll let somebody else speak.
No. Kay is next. Kay is next, and then Alan can go, or Vicky can go after. Go ahead, Kay.
Yeah, it's just a quick one. I just wanted to say, would it be true to say that the whole layer thing can be achieved with tape for people like Lynette? It would be easy to get aluminium tape, copper tape, and cellophane tape to just try it out on a small area. Would that be true to say that?
100%, Kay. That's such a good idea. I don't use copper tape because I don't have access to it. And like I said, I don't order anything. But hold on a second. Let me mute that person. But that's a great idea. So was that for Lynette? Whoever. Using copper tape, aluminum tape, or metal tape, that's what aluminum tape is also called, foil tape, metal tape, and saran wrap or plastic wrap, just those three like that will be the insulative, conductive, and electrically neutral material that we were talking about. It's a great suggestion, Kay. I appreciate it. Okay, and then I think, Alan, you were up.
Hi, Andrew. Yeah, thank you. I was wondering, with some LED lights that are used for blocking surveillance, if we were to put some of those on the brim of a hat, would that be able to block their ability to see or monitor?
No, it wouldn't. No. You think about the military, and then think about, I don't know how much you know about this, but like counterintelligence operations, and think about personnel on the ground. If you had a quick trick like that, it would be overcome instantaneously. So just on that level alone, it's not going to do you really any good that I know of. I could be wrong. But the LEDs in general are oftentimes weaponized against us to polarize the frontal lobe, which oftentimes will contain, of our brain, which will contain heavy metals and nanotech. So you'll see that when you're driving, people will shine their purple, blue, ultraviolet lights, headlights, the HIDs on you, which is high intensity headlamps, right? The perps and whatnot, whether they're professional human traffickers, community-based agents, or citizen informants, they'll aim them at you without it. Some of them know, some of them don't, to polarize that nanotech, heavy metals behind your eyes. So what I'm saying is that oftentimes LEDs are directed energy weapons.
Wow, okay. All right, thank you, Andrew.
You're welcome. That's why they do that with the headlights. That's also why those headlights are now the common headlights. Because since the nanotech genocide started, I don't know how much you know about this, but basically a little bit before COVID, but in earnest during COVID, that's what COVID really was about. It's about getting this nanotech in people's body. You've seen more and more and more of those lights, those high intensity LEDs, ultraviolets, is because they're causing brain damage to people. And that is one of the ultimate goals of the people doing this, is to use light-based weapons to target inflammation people's brains for, quote, mind control, unquote. We call it mind control, but really we should call it targeted inflammation, because that's really what it is. And with targeted inflammation, you get the propensity sometimes at some point to control people's behavior.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I never heard about that. That makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, you'll see it now that you're driving around. And if you can see me right now, I'm wearing these orange glasses particularly for that. Because when I don't wear the orange glasses, the human traffickers in my area, they are so hyper-focused on trying to stop me teaching all of you guys about these things that they'll beam my eyes. So this actually protects my eyes a lot, really, really well, from those weaponized frequencies, whether they're visible, like the ultraviolet HIDs, or slightly invisible, slightly outside of our viewing spectrum, ultraviolet LEDs, or they wouldn't be LED at that point because it's not light emitting, but it would be some sort of diode, I would think. Kenneth Grove, that's what LED stands for, light emitting diode. Kenneth Grove on my Rumble or YouTube channel, Onionhead Andrew on Rumble or YouTube. I've got a video where a man named Kenneth Grove out of Houghton Lake, Michigan, actually recorded those just out of visible light in ultraviolet lasers, or I guess you would call them, aimed at his house, hitting his house perpetually. All right, he couldn't see it with his eyes, but his cameras picked them up because they were low light, night orientated cameras, not night vision, but night orientated. So they were made for low light, meaning the things that they could see were in a slightly wider spectrum than what we could see. And what they saw was that they were very much using that ultraviolet frequency just out of visible light to beam his house, to polarize his body, right? To interact with the heavy metals in his body. All right. Anybody else have any questions?
I saw that.
I
saw that.
Oh, you've seen it with your own eyes, or did you see the video?
I was taking a picture. No, I was taking a picture at night, and I saw all the colorful lights on my neighbor's house. And I was like, why is it all them colors on her house?
Uh-huh.
And I was just out there taking night pictures, evening pictures. And
Could you see these colors with your eyes, with your regular eyes?
No, I saw it in the camera.
Yeah, that's probably what it was then. Oftentimes our neighbors will be involved in our targeting. Most of us know this, but they were probably shooting them from that house.
I don't know. I had an idea of how you could capture that. You know, I don't know whether this will work, but you know those little cell batteries, the solar cells that you can get them for about 10 quid, right? And you can get an array of small ones.
Uh-huh.
That would register that light as a current. If it could, I'm guessing, if you could some way put it, I don't know, next to your bed at night or something. If it's completely dead without any current in it, you know, perhaps by the time you wake up, you could prove that light had come in, whether it's visible or not, and be able to actually measure the amount of light, even if it's pulsed in a short pulse. Is that true? I mean, is that in principle true?
That theory makes sense to me. I wouldn't know the particulars of it, but it seems like a decent theory. What Kenneth was doing is he just had these really, really cheap camera system. It was SANNCE. Sanche, I think is how you pronounce that. Those cameras, because their spectrum was wide enough, picked it up. So it could be just as simple as that. Eventually they did dial the weapon just a little bit further outside of that camera's viewable range so that camera could no longer view it. So if you keep that in mind, like, how do I see into the ultraviolet spectrum? You know, however you can do that, then whatever device you use, maybe a camera, I don't know. You know, like a handheld camera, maybe not, I don't know. You would just, that's how you would capture it. But also, that's not a bad idea with the solar. Okay, does anyone else have any other questions? I think, Vicky, did I see you in queue? Okay, Vicky? Oh, we can't hear you. You're muted. Yeah, we couldn't hear you. Something's going on there. Yeah, still don't have you.
Can I say something?
Oh, yeah, now we got you. Go ahead. Who is this, by the way?
I'm a different person. I'm Kia.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I emailed you recently, and thank you for saying God bless you. I just wanted you to know I left you a message in the chat box, and the first one I had a typo, so I corrected myself, and so I've sent you a few messages, and I hope you see them.
It's kind of hard for me to check the text too. I'm looking. Do you want to ask it right now?
Oh no, I just wanted to let you know that I went to the Seattle TI support group and they didn't know about you, so I informed them because we all get the same experiences and need the protection. So thank you.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to bring them all together and we're going to all work on this protection. Thank you.
I appreciate that. I really do, because when enough of us, and somebody was saying this, or I was talking to someone the other day and they were saying that I should say this during the class, but God, it just sounds so brutal. You know, the nature of this situation is very brutal. And I think about it in terms of chattel slavery, because in a lot of ways it has a lot of parallels. Chattel slavery was when Black and Native people were enslaved here in the Americas, and Brazil also, and a few other places like that. But that went on for 300 years, you know, give or take. And during that time, there were still slaves for people getting their freedom that whole time, one way or the other, whether they were runaways or they were granted their freedom by their owner, or they worked themselves out of slavery by paying for themselves through, you know, learning trades and crafts and all that type of thing. During that 300 years, natives and Black people, you know, and then some other people too, were becoming free. And it doesn't evade my perception that some of us are going to get out of this and some of us aren't, right? And what I mean by that is, I hope the program ends. I really do. I hope it ends in the next 2-3 years, and it might. And I hope it does. And I really hope it does. It might end in 5-10 years, right? It might never end. It's up to us to get whatever freedom we can, whenever we can, and as much of it as we can. And there's going to be people here that don't see that ever, that will never do the work, will never hear about the work, you know, not through no fault of their own. And they will never, you know, experience freedom again. That's always the case when slavery and human trafficking is afoot, because at any point you're dealing with people that don't respect your free will. Obviously, they can kill you. That's always in the cards, right? So when one of us breaks through, right, it behooves all of us to follow suit. And when enough of us do break through, this program will be in a completely different, we will see it in a completely different light, both in our own lives, like a few of us already do, and within society, right? It's up to us individually first, and then as we do that individually, to help our brothers and sisters along behind us as much as we can. Because our freedom is, it's not only for us, right? It benefits everyone in society for this to end, obviously. Even the people doing it. And the people doing it might, you know, oh, my money, you know, my money, the group I'm in, the whatever. They're literally building the prison around them that's in the process of committing a worldwide genocide against them and their family, right? Almost no one is protected from what's going on right now. This transhumanism, it's not really about modifying people to make them more adaptive or smarter or anything like that. The nanotech is modifying them to kill and control them. That's it. To control them, to kill them, right? The nanotech has always been paired with death. There's no stable nanotechnology in anyone's body that I know of that isn't actively killing them and hurting them. All right? So this was never about transhumanism. This was about a genocide and techno-feudalism, which is to say a return to an era that's bygone now, an era of kings and queens that we have moved past and that no one wants to go back to besides the people doing this. All right? And the majority of people doing this really have no idea what they're doing. All right? So it benefits all of us all the time to strive for freedom in every way that we can. That is not selfish. That's the opposite of selfish. When one of us breaks through, of course, we should be looking backwards to help each other through. And that's what I'm doing right now. This is not just to benefit you, me talking to all of you right now. It's to benefit me and my family also. Because the more of us that get through this, the quicker all this is going to be done. Okay, enough said about that. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes, this is Charlie. I have one question. You were saying in an apartment complex, the nanotech can go through the walls. How do they do that? How do they push the nanotech through the walls?
Well, so if you go on Clifford Carnicombe, carnicombeInstitute.org, carnicombeInstitute.com, I can never remember. It's so irritating, I can't remember that. But either way, the cross-domain bacteria, so the smallest form of nanotech that Clifford Carnicombe has indefinitely proved is building the nanotech, is like, I think, oh, geez, what was it? That's off the top of my head, but 1/50th the size of a red blood cell, 1/100th of the size of a red blood cell, something like that.
Well, nanotech is defined as 10. Nano is defined as 10 to the negative 9. So if you go 0.00009, 9, that's the size, and it's like 1 millionth of a unit.
The cross-domain bacteria was found in the submicron range, which is to say the higher nanotech range. All right. So what's happening in these chemtrails is that this nanotech, it's either being contained in filaments that are full of these cross-domain bacteria, these little pieces, this nanotech, right? And the filaments can actually be in the micro scale, or maybe even a little bit bigger. When enough of them clump, they literally appear as dust bunnies. The people that are on the other side of a wall spraying things have made all these little tiny, unbelievably tiny little holes in a wall, right? You can literally, if you're in this situation, I'm sure one of you is, and you think one of these walls has been weaponized, you can literally stand by it and feel the heat emanating off of it, as though there's like a radiant heater at the floor right on that wall, when there won't be, right? Because they've got these little tiny little holes. I don't know how they form these, if it's with an air device or whatever, I don't know. But I've experienced this myself. It's very much real. And you can feel it emanating off. And what will be emanating off is polarized particulate. That particulate will be heavy metals binded with nanotechnology 99 times out of 100. They've got a few different mixes of things, if they want to use some chemical for some reason, make it more gluey when this odors or when these chemicals interact with your body so they stick to your clothes more. Yes, there's like a little bit of a cocktail that they'll mix up, whatever, but that's what's going on. So that can happen in your apartment. That can happen to your house. That can happen when you're driving your car. They can release this crap anywhere. And the people that are releasing this stuff, they're just releasing stuff. They you know what I mean? That's like nanotech, schmanotech. Who gives a crap? I'm on fentanyl. I'm an alcoholic. I can't ever break free from my military background because I made some bad decisions 20 years ago. And this is the gang I'm in. This is what I do. You jump to get in, you jump to get out. Well, in real life, you jump to get in, you go through boot camp, you get killed on your way out. So it's not just that all these people around you that are releasing these particles are doing evil, right? Although they are, it's that many of them are having evil done upon them also. And that's what I mean. It's in the benefit of all of us to break free from this because this nanotech thing is going on. Sorry, Charlie, I talked past you a little bit.
No, that's fine. That's fine. You're good.
Can you repeat? Sorry, can you repeat the website?
Yeah, it's Carnicombe Institute.
How do you spell it?
I'll spell it in the chat right now.
Thank you.
CARNICOM Institute. And that's .com or .org. I can never remember it. Clifford Carnicombe is the guy's name. 25 years of research on this. He is the definitive source. Eventually the world will know what he's done. He's one of the heroes in my book.
Yeah, these cults, they're all under demonic influence, yeah. Satan is their boss.
Well, yeah, I'm not so... Yes, there's that conversation about the spiritual element, sure, whatever. That's not what I'm talking about, though. I'm talking about the real, on-the-ground effect of these, of what's happening. All right, every single person involved in this, it does not benefit for them to continue doing this. And again, a lot of them would say, the money, I'm in the club, I'll get all these advantages from doing these things. But that's not real.
Yeah.
Your society is being destroyed in real time right now. We are experiencing millions of people dying from this. It's not just about targeted individuals. Targeted individuals, they are testing these weapons on and then quickly turning them around and using them on the public. What do you think the COVID vaccine was about? What do you think the chemtrails are about? Right? This is all into a larger plethora of a genocide that's currently underway. And until you do the research yourself and understand these primary sources, like I've been talking about, that Onionhead Andrew, Rumble, or YouTube presents over and over and over, right, especially in the earlier videos, this will all sound like woo-woo nonsense. Like I'm some type of brain-damaged fool for saying these things. How could they be doing these things and no one would know? Well, look at what's going on right now. How could they be human trafficking?
We know the truth. Everybody on this call knows the truth. If following evil, that's what Satan does. This is all Satanism. Everything they do day in and day out is satanic ritual abuse, and they're practicing Satanism, whether they know it or not. They go hand in hand, because there's a spiritual realm, and we're also in the physical, of course. But it's all
that's a very you need to be very careful approaching that conversation because there are so much counterintelligence operations behind mixing the real and calling it all, ethereal. And I'm not saying let me finish. I'm not saying that the ethereal isn't important because it very much is. Are you hear me talk about this in a different way? It very much is. But in calls like this, people will come on and they'll go Satan, 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 Satan to help discredit people trying to interpret their environment to survive.
That's not what I'm saying. Everything you're saying is correct, but it's just also all evil. It's rooted in evil. I don't know how you can deny that. Everything they do is completely against God.
But getting back to the nano, right? Nano is 1 millionth of the size of a strand of hair. So they could probably push it if it's smaller than the molecules that the walls are made of, right? If it's smaller than the molecules of the sheetrock or the wood, it would be pushed through that and end up inside your apartment. That's what I'm assuming. That's what's happening.
We throw around the word nanotech a little too liberally. The technology does construct itself at that level sometimes, and then it makes these bigger things that become a machinery, right? That is in the micro scale, and then those things clump together and they make something that's visible to our eyes. That's those white fibrous clots. So when we say nanotech, it's not necessarily the size of the distribution particles. They could be, I would imagine, for the sake of moving them around, like you look at the chemtrails, right? What is that? That's probably the same scale as dust particles, right? Because that's like the scale in which particulate naturally moves around the air very well. So I would think that it would do the same, through a wall. It would be about a dust particulate size, which would be in the mid-micro range. or maybe a little bit higher. Because I can literally, and this is my supposition, but I can literally see them on my cameras, the heavy metal nanotech aerosol clumping on cold days, because it will clump to be about the size of I don't know, like a hail, like a raindrop, something like that. But it won't fall like hail or a raindrop. It'll float and move around because it's being manipulated with magnetic weapons or weather weapons to be driven into my airspace. All right, so it looks a little bit like a blizzard on my cameras some nights. I have a lot of proof of that. A lot of people can verify what I've said with their own.
How do you do that with a camera?
You just turn on your cameras, and when it's cold enough at night, you'll see it.
Oh, okay. I've used a hidden device detector. I was trying to look for hidden devices in my apartment. It's a free app on my phone called Hidden Device Detector. And I thought I was detecting hidden cameras and hidden devices. And now I'm thinking maybe it's the nanotechnology that it's detecting.
Yeah, I wouldn't know about that until I saw what you're talking about. It's out of my wheelhouse, to be honest.
Okay.
All right, hey guys, we're nearing 2 hours and sometime 20 minutes, something like that. Does anybody have any more questions about the wearables, particularly that hasn't spoke yet, that really wants to speak?
I didn't ever get that website. I'm sorry.
It's in the chat. Go to the chat and go up a few, and you'll see it.
Okay. It'll be under your name?
Yeah, it should be. It should be.
Why don't I see
Yeah,
it?
it's right there. It's on the. It's mine. It's on mine. It shows the right side.
What the heck?
But just keep. Okay, keep looking.
I'll email you and ask you. Oh, sorry. Go for it.
No, that's fine. That sounds fine.
To email you?
Yeah, or I could spell it out right now.
Yep. I'm listening.
Okay, it's CARNICOM, and then Institute.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Andrew.
Uh-huh.
Can you hear me? This is Queen. I just posted a link in the chat. If you can, please copy that. That is a link of a targeted person. It's quite a while ago, but his.
Oh, we lost you.
QUINN.
Uh-huh.
And he was being interviewed. You lost me now? Did you lose me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
So that link, if you can copy that and then just kind of review that that interview, that is really worth listening to. And what you were just describing in terms of nanoparticles, I think this video will really enlighten and actually have a visual of what you're talking about because of the way that it materialized from ground. He was able to capture it with his camera, and he was being interviewed, and he showed it. So it's worth watching. Okay.
All right. Thank you. Okay, does anybody else have any questions?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do have a question. It's not about the wearable, but I think this is important. So I noticed, and it's been a few years well, and I noticed again recently after I when I started making my wearable, there's a vehicle, usually a vehicle that usually park on like on the opposite of the building that I stay in, and they usually have a light, a bright light on the upper right hand side corner, and it comes on every night. So at first I thought they were just doing it to just to intimidate me, but I noticed that everywhere I move, it's usually there. There's a vehicle that comes, and the windows are usually dark tilted, and so I'm wondering if they're using the light to point the technology at me and attack me.
Yeah, the light is a directed energy weapon itself.
Oh, because I noticed when I first saw it, the attacks that I was getting was so severe. And so I mentioned it, I talked about it, and then the light came off. The vehicle is still there, but the light is not on. But I could tell the difference when the light was there. So there, and usually it's point to my bedroom.
Yeah, it's a directed energy weapon. It's what we were talking about earlier. It's in the ultraviolet spectrum, so you can see it with your eyes. But when you get a chance, get these orange glasses.
I have one right now.
Okay, well, that's your best protection against that.
Okay. All right. Thanks so much. Wow.
You're welcome. Always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to come here and talk to all of you survivors.
Can you hear me at all?
Go ahead.
Sorry. No, I just wanted to ask about the orange glasses and where do you get those?
I'm going to write down the name in the chat right now. It's Sleep ZM.
Thank you.
Sleep ZM. Okay. All right. Who is next?
That was me. I have a question. All the different tools that you mentioned today, when you go to either Amazon or anything like that, like online to get it, and a lot of the items are compromised. Either you get it, you don't get it, or when you do get it, it doesn't function as it's supposed to. Now, can you go to local businesses to purchase some of these devices as opposed to ordering them online?
I would recommend you do. That's another, you're just going to have to figure out, That's how this stuff goes, is you got to figure these things out. I got these from Facebook Marketplace.
Hey, what's that? I'm trying to get it. What's that vitamin or the thing? Chlorine oxide? Chlorine oxide?
Chlorine dioxide.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. It comes in lots of different forms. I'm looking it up right now as we're talking. What expert was saying was that your best bang for your buck was in the cleaners because it's most concentrated.
I think they use it to sterilize babies' bottles as well.
I thought you were going to say bottoms.
So did I. But I want to take it orally, so I don't want to buy the cleaning one, but I can get both of them.
Yeah, hey, no, get the cleaning one, though, because a lot of what you were telling me about what's going on in your car is because they're spraying stuff.
Oh, okay. Yep, cool. I'll get both.
Okay. All right, guys.
You can take it orally as well, because obviously if you use it as a soap for babies' bottles, it's not going to harm you in a small amount. So you can take that as well, just a small amount though. Bottles.
Yeah, I was already laughing again. I must be all the Mary Poppins I watched as a kid.
Yeah, definitely. My accent.
Yeah, the accent's funny for Americans. I'm sorry, Kay. It is. It's weird. I'm sure there's like. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry. Two phase. One, if you've been constantly hit on the lower abdominal, meaning your midsection area, and the toxicity, the metal toxicity is quite large, and when you check your pH is supposed to be like lower abdominal vaginal area is supposed to be about 4.0, 4.5, and the pH is about 8.0. Will this chloride help to kind of neutralize that and bring it down?
Well, I think the chlorine dioxide makes it more base, right?
Oh.
And then I think what you just said is that the heavy metal toxicity, it's more base, which wouldn't make sense. It would be more acidic.
Of course.
So I don't really follow, but I could be misfollowing you.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure the balance of the solution, so that's why I asked.
Okay, yeah, I wouldn't particularly know. It's going to be something that would be something you would have to figure out for your application.
Sure. So my second question is this: when the eyes is constantly being manipulated and being pricked. This occurs mostly when you go to bed. So when you are in your deep sleep state of mind, and the eyes is being manipulated as if there's some kind of a needle pricking you, some kind of a scapular being held to hold your eyelids down, and then when you try to wake up, the eye is so inundated with pain. Even literally, when you touch the eyeball, it's very painful. Do you have any idea what that is, or what is being done to these?
Yeah, actually, I do. Yeah, I do. It's another form of quote nano machinery. Again, Charlie, we throw that term around loosely, but these ones really are very small. They're in the nano range. They're called nano walkers. And what happens is during a break-in, they'll spray your clothes with these things. They'll spray your bedding. And then what they do is they're the size of DNA or a little bit bigger, and they literally crawl across things. And it takes them hours and hours and hours and hours just to move a very small distance. But you'll be sleeping on your bed that will be full of these things, right? These nano walkers, and they'll crawl into your orifices, your eyes, your ears, your nose, your mouth, your genitals, your anal cavity, that type of thing. They can even go into your body deeper in your intestines. And when they get to where they're going, there is a frequency interaction in which they drop their payload, so to speak, which is really to say that they dissolve into forming a polymer that can be polarized. Okay? So really what you're talking about is mobile nanotechnology that can get you from the outside in. All right? The problem with nano walkers is simply that, that these things are crawling from the outside in. The reason, though, that most of the nanotech isn't the nano walkers is because you're talking about very, very, very infinitely hard to imagine small things. And when they're dropping these, when they're basically melting, however you phrase that, and turning into these polymer bases, they're not thick like the polymer base from the filaments that we breathe would grow and incubate into our body and become. All right, so it's a different set of nanotechnologies. All right, that's so when you're sleeping, oftentimes there's efforts to manipulate your dreams. To do that effectively, your eyes need to be covered with this polymer, all right, or have enough of the polymer there to have an interaction, or the front part of your brain, down the optical nerve, however that actually works. I wouldn't know. I'm not doing this to people, right? But those nano walkers, they crawl in, they crawl about, they drop their payloads, they become the polymers. The polymers in turn become polarized by different weapon systems, and that's what happens. And that's how that interaction takes place. That's also how the sex attacks are taking place. So if you think about it, there's like the nanotech that grows from the inside out, and then there's the nanotech that crawls from the outside in. And both of those things are playing a part. The idea is from the outside to the inside, there's enough polymers there that can be polarized to produce whatever targeted inflammation is desired in that moment.
Let me say this. Based on what you just explained as far as the nanotech coming in, now that might be possible, but I don't know.
Well, hold up. I have source material. I have a person. Hold on. Let me finish though, because you just brought up something I should have said this earlier. There is a man. His name was Robert McCrae. Robert McCrae was 40 years in the military. He was a Georgetown professor at one point, also a professor for a few other places. He was a high-up military think tank person. He died last year. Right before he died, he publicly stated that nano walkers were being used in this paradigm. That's literally what they're called, nano walkers. They were invented in 2002 in New York University, probably before that by DARPA, probably 30 years before that by DARPA, but they were publicly released, the information that they exist and they can be utilized for various things in 2002. Robert McCrae, being an insider with the knowledge of neurotech and nanotech, explicitly stated that these things were involved. So I'm not guessing here. I'm sourcing a primary source expert who is now dead, probably because of this information.
So the reason why I brought this up is because I went to see eye doctor. I've already seen him when this first started. So for me to have, I don't know about other people in terms of their eyes, but the way that my eyes became the way that it is because I was hit 3 times on the back of my head. That's how my torture of my eyes started. So I was hit on the back of my head 3 times, and on the third hit with directed energy is when my eyesight became blurry. So that was the beginning of it. So I went to the doctor because for my job requires me to be able to do on-site digitization. So I do remote sensing. That's my field. I mean, geospatial intelligence. So for me, when I design street maps and when I design cartography, I need to have a good sight to see the screen and be able to be intricate in terms of my design. So when I went to the doctor, one of the things that he asked me was, have you ever had any eyesight problem? No, I haven't, because in order for me to do my job, I have to have a pretty good vision. So when I went there, they looked at my eyes, they saw the pinkness in my eye, and it's always at the top upper inner corner of the eye. So there's like this little dot that's always permeating this constant redness, and then the vein that comes from that spot is always spreading outward. So when he looked at the eyes, he said, I don't see anything, but I can see that your eyes is irritated, but I can't see what is causing it. So later on, he came to find out that it was coming from the wiring on the back of my eye. Do you understand? It was coming from the wiring. So it might not be physically, might not be able to see it on the eyeball, but it's the wiring, which correlates to what some of those dignitaries from the Havana syndrome were complaining about in terms of their eyes, is on the wiring of the eye. So now that becomes the neural remote manipulation of being able to target you either what is it called? Through medical telehealth way of targeting, targeting patients or communicating with patients when they're at home, as opposed to being in the hospital setting. They can still be able to do surgery with them or to them.
Well, okay. Can I comment now? I know this is one of your first times. I think second time being on the.
This is my second
call.
time being here. Yeah, but I just wanted to get your.
When we talk about ourselves, there is so much trauma. I slip into this too. I make this mistake also. So it's not just you. I'm talking about me too. There is so much trauma in our experience, right? So when we're talking, we're asking questions, whatever, commenting, and we're talking about ourselves, we want to keep it very short and very to the point, because it's a solutions-based thing we're doing here, right?
I understand. Concur.
Okay. That being said, your optical lobe or the wiring behind your eye, as you were stating, either way, it's going to be interacted with polymers. There's always polymers first, because the polymers, which is the nanotech, it gives the specificity for the directed energy weapons. Without the polymers there, it's like shooting a shotgun into a dark room. And that's how directed energy weapons were from 1920 until 2006, give or take, right? 2002, something like that. What changed with directed energy weapons? Did all of a sudden they have this, why all of a sudden did they have this insane capacity now to specifically target sets of synapses in people's brains, which is infinitely harder to target than the wiring behind your eyes? It's for a simple, very simple reason, becomes very complicated in application. Nanotech. The nanotech has built polymers, and then those polymers have been mapped in real time, depending on who you are, how long you've been targeted, with advanced software applications that we call AI. All right? That's what's giving the specificity to target people. So anytime you have any symptoms, almost.
We can't hear you, Andrew.
Okay, anytime you have almost any symptoms, it's almost always the interaction between nanotech and directed energy weapons. It's hardly ever one without the other. Okay? You can have nanotech growing in your body as the regular population does, the undirected, targeted population who are still being targeted but with undirected energy weapons. They will have nanotech growing in them. It will also cause complications, but those complications will drift or go to the areas where naturally the inflammation was already there. For example, if they had heart problems and they're exposed to this nanotech, the nanotech is going to naturally grow in that inflammation around their heart. Same with liver or kidney or gallbladder, or even things like back problems, or even tears in ligaments or muscles or anything like that. Wherever there's natural inflammation, the nanotech is going to naturally migrate to and flourish there. That's for the untargeted population, which is still targeted but to a lesser degree. For targeted individuals, the big difference is implants are put into their bodies in different areas to procure this effect in a controlled environment, right? This is why they want to isolate you. This is why they spend millions and millions and millions of dollars on every target. Is because they want this case study, they want this torture study to be as clean data as possible, right? In practicality, that's not how it plays out. You're dealing with human traffickers that are mostly drug addicts, sex addicts, that type of thing, whatever. I mean, they're human traffickers. That's what you're going to get, right? That's the group of people that are going to human traffic. So you're going to get those outcomes more than the scientific ones. But on paper, that's what they're going for. They're going for that clean, controlled, as best as possible environment where they can dictate these outcomes to derive specific outcomes, for lack of a better term, in people's life to torture, maim, kill them, but not always. Sometimes it could be like getting them to fall in love with a honeypot. So like hitting the synapses of their brain that are responsible for feeling good at certain times. So they're around certain people and they get this flood of dopamine at this very specific time. And they think, well, I really like this person, right? That is an outcome that is often trying to be created, right? And if you think about this from the people doing this, developing these weapon systems, and it makes perfect sense. Because after the genocide, because the nanotech is inherently bad for us, it's inherently killing us, right? No matter who you are, if you've got this in you, it's bad for you. It's not good. It doesn't live in a cohabitation. It's a parasite. And it's probably the nastiest parasite ever invented. So even if you've got this in you, I forgot what I was going to say. Long story short, that's what it was. The people would want that outcome with you falling in love with a honeypot, because they would want to be able to mass reproduce that, so that when you're watching, your state mandated, excuse me for the vulgarity of this, but your state mandated hour of porn a day, which is coming in the near future, a la 1984 style, that you'll fall in love with that porn actress, or let's just take a step back, that celebrity, so that you won't be able to find meaningful relationships in your life that make you feel the same way, and therefore you won't reproduce. And that's really, after the genocide, that's really the type of outcomes that we're looking at as a society if this doesn't stop. And it will stop. It's called, one word for it, one phrase for it is techno-feudalism. That's the era of kings and queens with a technology layer over the top of it. Okay? That's really what all this is being done for. It's being done for the society that will never come to be without the mass extermination of the population. They're saying, the people, the Davos-aligned people are saying 13 out of 14 people. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I think that's their wish list. I think right now we've seen, a few 100 million, maybe more, die. Maybe we're past the billion. I don't know. Die from all of this, because if you've got something going on with your body, it's just going to make it worse, right? So when people die, it's not like, oh, we know that nanotech killed them. It's that when you die, almost always in Western society, or China for that matter, or other parts of Asia like Singapore, Australia, the Western world, and then a few of these Eastern cutouts, because like China is a cutout of the American deep state, which is a cutout of the European monarch corporate family stuff. All right. Either way, we're already in that global one world power. They're trying to switch systems from the old way to the new way. And again, I'm rambling. I'm far off, but that's the idea. They kill all these people, and the people that survive are too mind controlled to do anything but be available for the monarchs of yesteryear and their families to be prey to, one way or the other.
Andrew?
May
I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead, please. Sorry for the rambling.
No, I loved it. I wish we had more time for you to go on for a couple hours, quite frankly. I wanted to mention two things, a statement and a question for you. Several times a day, I harvest nanoparticulates from the corners of my eye, Dr. Q, from the inside by my nose and from the outer corners. Maybe other TIs do. I don't know, but I have to get them out of there because they bother me. And I know that they are nanoparticulates because you don't collect that kind of stuff. And as much as I've got in me, that would just come out so much. You know what I mean? It's not dirt, is what I'm trying to say. It is nanoparticulates, just so anybody knows if they have things coming out of their eyes. It's possible. And I do know quite a bit about vision and ophthalmology and other things like that, the light. My question for you is, this is a good one. With all your experience and all your things that you've accomplished and all that you've learned is so vast compared to any one of us or probably all of us put together, in my opinion. I want to know how these people know how to manipulate so many different systems, so many different weapons, when the people that operate the actual technology and the magnetrons and the big weapons that are close by, for a fact, I don't believe those people are so brilliant, even as you, and to be able to do what they do. Where do they have a playbook? Do they go to school? Do you have any idea how they learn all this so quickly to be able to do this to us as in so many levels with so many weapons coming out so quickly? I just can't. In fact, it doesn't make sense to me how they could learn all this stuff so quick.
That's a great question. And thank you, by the way, for all your compliments. I don't think I'm that smart, but I really appreciate everything you said.
Oh, you are.
And I've seen you here a lot, and please speak up more because that's a great question. I think what's happening is that, and by the way, your statement, a ditto. I can literally pull it out of my nose, and it's not a, excuse me for the vulgarity, it's not a booger. It's like a white, it's almost like a callus. It's like a paper thing that you can roll up, and it'll have mucus in it just because it comes from your nose, but it's like papery. But either way,
all day long I have to collect that, or it's disgusting if I don't.
Yeah, I'm always picking the edge of my nose, getting that stuff out, for the exact same reason. To your question, I believe that there is a parallel, and I don't know this to be the case, but this is the only thing that makes sense to me whenever I think about it, is that there is a parallel technology structure that is available to them that's not to the public. Like, I believe that there's a backside of Google, there is Palantir, and there's other big corporations like that that have plethoras of software that are available for them, and they are just moving through a workbook with that software.
If I told you what they do to me, you would never believe it because it's so unnatural compared to the norms. It's like somebody is sitting there and doing nothing, but spending a team of people to create these programs to do the crazy things they're doing. It's nothing like I ever hear on any call. I've never heard these things before. Never.
Okay, well, hey, you got my email, and what was your name, if you don't mind saying? Or just tell me whatever.
My name is Luda, Liuda, but I don't have access to the internet, unfortunately. I don't have a landline. I don't even have a smartphone. This is how primitive I live. I have no Wi-Fi or anything like that.
Well, I want to give you means.
Foreign number somehow, some way, someday, because I really think that there's certain things that are incredible. It's all.
Oh no, I think that you want to talk to someone, and I'd be willing to do it. Hold on, I don't have a pen right now. Don't leave when I when I stop recording here in a few minutes, and I'm going to write down your phone number, and I'm going to give you a call, okay?
Okay, appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Hey, Andrew, I've got a question for you.
Hold on, hey, hold on 1 second. I gotta, oh, this is so annoying. Yeah, hold on 1 second. I've got to write down her phone number or else it might get lost. Okay, go ahead and speak one more time, Luda.
716.
Okay, you don't have to say it. Don't say it. I can read it. It's on the pop-up.
Okay,
here.
you got it.
I don't want it to be on the recording, so you don't get bothered.
It ends in 220.
Okay. All right, I got it. All right, go ahead. Question? Call it.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with this one or not. I haven't come across anybody else that's experiencing this, but I get, the deja vu feeling, precognition feeling. I get that almost constantly, and it's something that they showed me several years ago in sort of some dream that they manipulated. And so it appears that they showed me my future day for day. I know it sounds unbelievable, but that is something that's happening. And I think other people need to be aware that that's also something that's happening. I'm curious if you have heard of that or know what's going on there.
No. In fact, that doesn't sound believable, feasible, or real to any degree.
I get it.
How would anyone show you your future? You know?
I don't know that either. And the weirdest part about that is it was them. It was right when this started. Two guys were in my room. Anyways, I don't want to get. I know you have a little bit of time, but they showed me a couple different paths that I would take, and I know. Yeah, I guess it's not doing this any good because it is totally unbelievable. I guess basically you just have to take my word. I'm a reasonable person.
Here. Let me say.
I just want to bring it to your attention.
Yeah, let me say this about that, and just very quickly, you will have from the ancient times to now, you will have these deep dreams that can guide you in your life, right? So let's not attribute everything to people attacking us when all they can really do is manipulate a little bit of the dream that you're having. It's like you're having a dream, hold on, let me finish. And the V2K is talking in your ear, and then images are being flashed over those polymer. So, or something like that. But go ahead.
Yeah, I've gone over and over this. It's a day for day thing, all day long, constantly, and it was shown to me several years ago. My V2K is saying the same things that they were saying in that dream. That was right at the same time that they started messing with me, and my period. So I can only attribute that to their work, and I just was hoping that you had heard about that. As like I said, I haven't heard anybody else.
No, I haven't. But I wouldn't attribute more to these people and what they're capable of than what they're actually capable of. It's a common thing to do that among survivors.
How about making a sleepwalk? How about making a sleepwalk? Have you heard much about that?
About sleepwalking?
Yeah, so I think they make me do that. I lost my wallet. I don't know where it is now, but I know where I put it away.
There's various chemicals you can be exposed to that can put you in a sleep-like state. There's one of them that's very understood. It's called scopolamine. Oftentimes that's used on targets for various reasons. I had it used on me once in public. Totally forgot where I was. I woke up, but I was still up on my feet. I never went to sleep. I was sleepwalking 30 minutes later on a bus. So it's definitely a thing that can be facilitated with certain chemicals and drugs.
Okay, are we getting the same line as a man of walkers? Is that the they get in a straight system that way?
I think what you're saying, Joe, you're cutting out a little bit, but I think what you're asking is if nanowalkers can facilitate that. No, but they can put you in a lucid dream state. The nanotechnology, nanowalkers, directed energy weapons, that whole confluence can put you in a lucid dream state. Right? That happens often to people. They get put in that where they feel like they're drowning, they can't breathe, and they literally do. You literally, in a lucid dream, you literally do stop breathing, right? And you literally have to wake yourself up forcefully, right? That's pretty common with the nanotech and the directed energy weapons.
Well, thanks.
You're welcome. But yeah, if you're sleepwalking, it's chemicals, man. So be very careful of that. You could have had something spiked during a break-in. Maybe there was some aerosol released around you. You know, maybe it was someone that you had in your environment. It is something they do. Hookers do it. Excuse me for the vulgarity again. But hookers do it in Colombia and Venezuela. It's a very common tactic they'll do to their johns. They'll take this dust of this special seed, grind it up, put it on a piece of paper and go, hey, can you show me the address to this place? And the person will read it, and just that amount of aerosolization around them will put them in that sleepwalk state. And it's literally happened to me. So I 100% know that some of the people doing this human trafficking are using scopolamine.
And how long will that stay in the system? Like if you don't take the address, how long is that last? How long?
Well, to me, they dusted me, an Israeli Mossad lady, something like that, doesn't matter, dusted me as I walked by her. And I stayed, because I knew who she was. It was like, I stayed like 5-10 feet away from her as best I could on this big sidewalk. It was just me and her. And anyways, the wind hit me just right. Last thing I remember was seeing her. About 40 minutes later, 30 minutes later, something like that, I woke up on a bus. My autonomic response took over. It was like, get on a bus, you'll be safe there. And I was eating onions. The whole process, the headache lasted another hour and a half, 2 hours after that. But what I did is I ate onions first to help clear it out, Onionhead, right? And that used to be one of my go-to tactics, just eating raw onions. And then I ate a heavy dose of sugar after that to help my brain. And so I think I speeded through it. It was about 2.5 hours, 3 hours altogether. But I think if you didn't do the onions and the ice cream, the hangover effect would be probably all day. Like getting really drunk the night before type deal. Yeah. Yeah, you want to look for that hungover feeling if you're sleepwalking, for sure. That'll give you a lot of indicators if you got poisoned or not. Okay, guys, it's near. Yep, go ahead.
I'm sorry, because I know you have to get out of here. But if they make the if they make it illegal to reject the digital ID in this country, would you leave? And where do you think the next best place would be to go?
I can't. I'm not in that situation to leave anymore. My family is targeted, and I cannot leave them behind. There's children I'm responsible for. So before that, I did go to Nicaragua, and I can almost tell you definitively there's no better place to be in the world when it comes to targeting than Nicaragua. But that being said, even when I was there, they were building the infrastructure for it because I got there. So they, all the 200 contractors followed me there, and they quickly started building it. They were all, by the way, that's what you look out for when you're internationally traveling. You look out for Israelis, NATO forces, and NGO workers. NGO workers are doing a lot of this on the ground, like Red Cross, that type of thing.
Do you think they will actually, be putting people in jail for not getting the digital ID? Do you think it'll get to that point?
I don't know, but right now there's a growing, here in the United States, there's a growing federal force of masked, unaccountable agents rounding people up. Yeah. So I don't know how far away we are from anything at this point.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that's not to be like, the immigration debate. That just is what it is. Whether you're for immigrants or against them, regardless, there is a roving bands of federal agents that are unaccountable, rounding up people unjudiciously, meaning there's no oversight.
Right.
Or very, very little. So who knows where we'll be at in a year or two when World War III kicks off.
We just dodged the bullet over here. It's going to happen over here.
Yeah, give it time, kid. It's going to happen in all the Western countries. Same thing. That's why they let all the immigrants into all these countries to do this, what they're doing now. And I'm pro-immigrant, but I'm also, I don't really, that's not really my forte. I'm more pro-freedom, truth, and love. So this isn't a political thing. This just is what's going on. So take it for what you will. All right, guys. With that being said, we're nearing 3 hours, and I'm exhausted. It's talking this much. It's hard. It's hard to hear my voice this much. So I'm going to leave you all on that note, on that terrible note. May God bless us, and may God have mercy on us. And again, it's such a gift to be here to present to all of you all of this information. And we will be free. We will be free. We will keep working until we are free. So with that in mind, God bless, and may God have mercy.